Hey folks. Hello. I'm finally here. Welcome to Restore Belief with Nikki. I'm Nikki. I'm Hey Para. Sorry I'm looking kind of like this, but it's kind of the process that I'm going through right now, which is why I'm here talking. So there's been quite a bit going on. To say the very least. Okay, I've got a little bit of business to take care. Okay, hello. There we are. So I've got a little bit of business to take care of regarding this to be sure that the link actually goes out. I was not capable of doing this earlier because of what has taken place. So, it's been a wild ride. Let's put it that way. Okay, I need to say it live right now. LIVE live right now. Okay. So, as of last night, middle of the night, my middle of the night, I guess everybody else's too. Excuse me. I get off the S4 paranormal bunker, and something that our guest had said was, "Hey Joe, was Big Bertha." Well, I've never told a single person, I mean, other than my family. Big Bertha was the name of the van that I was abducted in. Now, this lady is, I'm assuming based on what she talked about, a psychic medium. And when I got asked what am I going to be talking about for tonight, I said, well, I guess I'm going to be talking about Big Bertha and what all that means. Excuse me. So I got off the show and Robert was on the show. Robert White was on the show. And I said, well, since you can access, and you're the only one who can, certain aspects of my memories, let's delve into more of that experience. And we did, and it triggered many multiple memories. And so it also triggered, so I had a lot of flashbacks, and not just flashbacks, but flashbacks of memory, but actual longer sections of memory, which a few of them were not okay. So, excuse me, and I'm still dealing with this leftover pneumonia. So, that's going on too. And I had a very, very medical. Hey, Amy. I had a very serious medical situation happen on Tuesday. I think it was Tuesday. Even though I know it's Thursday, I'm really off on my days right now, so I do apologize. My timing, my words for timing might be off a bit. Because I'm not exactly fully on with it, which is part of the process that I want to talk about with everybody. When you are, okay, hang on. It's going to drive me batshit crazy. Get over there. Thank you. All right. So, sorry, guys. Okay. And one of the reasons why I'm so pasty, even though I got the red cheeks going on, is because I'm very upset, as Amy knows, as Robert knows, And as one other person knows. So, which is what happens when I go through triggers. Big triggers and flashbacks and memories and stuff. The reason I'm sorry guys, but I don't want to be here tonight. But I am here for other ET abductees and to put out information and to talk about, it's also to help me. That's what I say to that. I don't want to deal. This is the part and parcel to going through memories, remembering memories, even when they're frickin' difficult and you don't want to do it. I'm doing it because it's important. It's important to me to know what the hell happened to me. So I need you to be prepared. Nikki's probably going to be a frickin' basket case tonight because of these frickin' memories. But, and I literally heard somebody on the other side say, then why do it? I'm doing this because it is healing over time for me and other abductees who do not remember everything that they've gone through. I don't remember everything I've gone through. I've talked a lot about a lot of stuff that has happened to me. A lot of stuff. Some very serious stuff too, I might add. It's not all love and light and woo. It's, when I talk about being an ET abductee, it is a process. When I say that, I mean it. And this is what I wanted you to see. No matter what condition I am in, I want you to truly grasp, okay, the understanding that this really is a process. You will go through grieving moments, and that is okay. That is something of recognition within your own self. It is part of how you heal the trauma part of it. It is part of how you heal. Now, I know I've got a couple of really good friends who are psychologists, and they're like, you're not nuts. You're not this. You're not nuts. You've gone through really traumatic experiences, and this is how you process. I know that. I've known that for a lot of years. So this is really important to me, and it should be in my opinion, sorry, and I got an itchy face tonight. My allergies are kicking in, so I that's the other thing. I'm going to be probably scratching everywhere, and I apologize ahead of time. So, but this is what it's like. It's difficult. It's not all love and light. I know I said that before. But you can get through it. This is another, what I call part and parcel to getting through this muck. Another way of saying it, this shit, because part of it is shit. I have memories that I truly treasure. And part of those that regard the ETs, that I truly treasure them. They mean a great deal to me. They are what helps get me through. Crap. Didn't expect it so soon. They are part of what gets me through dealing with the negative shit of the abductions, or the scary shit of the abductions, especially when you're a child. So one of the things, okay, I'm trying to find I want to be sure that I get this. I was trying to get business done and I couldn't. I just started talking, so started yapping. Okay, hang on. So it's just part of how I have to deal. I will get through this. I know I will get through this. I'm not depressed. I'm very sad. There's a difference for something you need to know. And I've probably talked about this already. I'm going on what, 2 years doing this. I don't typically get depressed. When I was going through really intense counseling, there've been twice in my life, once in high school and once when I was going through counseling and I was going through flashbacks and memories and stuff, and I was horrified by what had happened to me, what I was remembering. And excuse me, so because of the trauma of the sexual abuse that I went through as a child. Now I can actually talk about that without having a reaction because I've healed a tremendous amount of that. And when you go through memories, this is what I'm talking about. You've got to go through the process of dealing with getting through. You got to find the way you heal. Well, thank God I had the counselor that I did. I had 2 of them that were just phenomenal. And because of them, they trained appropriately when I have flashbacks. Did I go through that last night? No. After I had the flashbacks, I couldn't put it into practice at the time. It was because it was too many, too much, too fast. And it literally dropped me down to so I've got a number level, and I'm typically, even when I'm upset, I'm typically around a 7. Dropped me emotionally down to a 1. Now that's not suicidal for me. I don't even remotely consider that suicidal. But it dropped me down to where I couldn't think, I couldn't function. And I was like, okay, I need to cry this out. And I did. And I was able to cry out quite a bit of what I'd gone through. I needed to be able to release the emotion of it. And part of that is releasing some of the memories of going, holy shit, that really was traumatic. Now, that said, my fear factor regarding what I remember, there's still a lot of that in me right now, and that is something that I will be processing through. The fear factor hits right after the fear factor, then doesn't hit denial. I don't hit the typical 5 stages of grief because this is a grief process. It's part of grieving for what has happened to you. That's the other thing I learned in my personal counseling. So there's so many different sides, sides is not the right way to phrase that, but most people understand what the hell I'm talking about, especially if you've gone through something traumatic. So it's understanding. I'm trying to find everyone. Okay, I did get that. Trying to make sure that I got everybody that I sent stuff to. Yeah, I think I got it. I hope. No, I missed one. Or I missed 2. Anyway, so it's dealing, you got to deal with this. This is one of those things to where you live, you learn, you go through, you move on. Once you process the trauma, you can literally move through life easier. Otherwise, if you stay stuck in trauma, what I have learned from my own past and from counselors is that when you do not process the memories of the trauma of what you've experienced, like I said, these are my experiences, folks. You stay stuck and you become angry and bitter. Excuse me. And that anger and bitter can affect every aspect of your life. You, from cynicalness all the way to being nasty with people. So now here's the ET stuff. Here's where the ET stuff comes in. Been on for 16 minutes and I haven't gotten into it yet. So some of the memories that I've got. Okay, I got to do this because I can feel my nose starting. I hate wiping my nose and just on camera. It's so gross. Anyway, sorry guys. Anyway, so the memories. So regarding Big Bertha, that was the 1970s. Okay, so it would have. Oh God, brain fart. No, that would have made me 8 years old. So 1974. Yeah, I was 6 years. I had to think about that. I was 6 years old. I hate doing math. And I know people that just love math. I'm not one to enjoy that. So anyway, so 1974 was the incident where my mom and I were taken off of the Sierra Mountains. I don't remember exactly where we were in the mountain range. Excuse me, but we were we were on I-5. And Mom and I had 8 hours of missing time. We were going to be getting there over 6 hours. We were headed to my stepdad's, my step aunt. We were headed to my stepdad's sister's farm in California, which I still to this day, I don't have a freaking clue as to where it was. And we were taken off the freeway, literally. It was late at night, real late at night. And if I think about this, I could probably sit and figure out the time frame. And I haven't done that yet. And if somebody else wants to go for it, I think we left Seattle around 5 or 6. So, okay, I could probably, knowing Mom, because I don't have a memory of it right now. I mean, I do. It's locked away in a filing cabinet. So I don't want to get into all of that. But and that's not the biggest part of the memory. So somebody else can do the math. So we were leaving Seattle. I'm assuming Mom got off work an hour early. So we probably left just after 5, I'm assuming. I lived in an area of Seattle that's just got anyway. So I lived in a very specific area, a Norwegian area of Seattle. I can say that. And I've probably said it before, but anyway. And I don't remember exactly when she got Mom called her Big Bertha because she was not used to driving a van. She was used to driving a lot of vehicles, but not a van. And so And back in the day, in the 70s, Bertha was quite a name. So she called the van Big Bertha. And I called her the Green Machine. Got to get us over the mountain, little green machine. So anyway, so we would have left Seattle, and then with Seattle traffic back in the 70s, getting through areas of like downtown Seattle and then the Tacoma area. I'm trying to think of other locations. So, and it's a number of hours to get to Portland, Oregon, then through the traffic of Portland, and then through different sections of traffic outside of Southern Oregon on I-5. And then you pretty much, back then, you pretty much had a free range going down I-5 and through Oregon. And at the end of Oregon, you've got the border of California, for those that are out of country listening to this. And you have the town of Shasta. And we were, I think, coming into Shasta or just going out of Shasta and hitting another section. I don't remember it this second. And it's weird because on one hand, I remember it being I-5, and on another hand, I don't. So it's very possible we were still in Oregon coming up, because back then, the way I remember that section of freeway was that you come down and then come up into, and I could be wrong and how I'm remembering that, but that's I haven't gone back through that part of the memory, but that's how I remember that section. And we were in the process of coming up into a section of mountain. And we had passed a number of semi trucks, and oddly enough, there was a semi truck that had passed us, which I find really odd when I look back at that memory now, because that doesn't even seem real. But I know it is, because I remember, I can even tell you the colors of some of the different semis that went by us. So when we were taken in Big Bertha, and there was no other vehicle around, and we had mountain on to my right, and there was something off to the left, but I can't grasp it because there's so much involved in the other portions of the memory, other things that I was seeing around me. And so this was a number of hours. You're looking at what, 5-6 hours to get through Oregon? I don't remember. But from Seattle to Portland, typically about 3 hours. Excuse me, 2.5, 3 hours. Depending upon how fast you were driving. And I believe 60 was the, it's 55 or 60. So somebody else do the math on that one. And so we were supposed to get in to my step aunt's farm 6 hours earlier. 6 hours earlier than Mom had anticipated. And so she was looking forward to surprising and saying hello to them, and actually getting to spend some time with her sister-in-law and her sister-in-law's husband. I couldn't figure out how to say that. And as it was, we were 2 hours late. So there's an 8-hour period where we have missing time. And I didn't remember, I did not remember, I need to rephrase that. I was not allowing myself to remember because I was too scared. Beyond the light, beyond the vehicle being lifted up into the air and the light. And I've since remembered a little bit more of that, but that's not what's traumatized me. I mean, I got scared, but that's not what traumatized. What traumatized me was something very different. It was a completely different, completely different situation. So, another set of memories. So that memory, hang on a minute. I did make notes. Of course, I wrote journal notes. Thank God I did, because even though I was out of it and I did not want to write, and I was really screaming at myself, you have to write this stuff, Nikki. You have to, period. What was the date, plus or minus? I couldn't tell you that right now, Amy. I would have to figure out. See, that's what I'd like to know, is to find out. Oh, squeaking of the chair. Find out via the different, like NUFORC, National UFO Network .org. I would like to go to that website and search the date and approximately the time. Be able to find if anybody else saw the saucer, because it was a saucer. And I didn't remember it being a saucer until Robert and I were doing the work, and I saw it. I don't know how I saw it, but I saw it, even through the bright light. And I think I'd probably disassociated or went out of body into astral and saw it, because I was very good at that by that point. So if I can figure that time frame out, let's put it this way, Amy. I think it was in the spring. It was either spring or early fall, before the leaves turn. It's one or the other, and I think it was I think it was in the springtime. So because there was no snow, it wasn't ice cold out. It was cold, but it wasn't ice cold. It wasn't like 38 degrees or 27 or 15 or something like that. Yes, Paramarv just asked, so the entire vehicle was taken on board this saucer? Yes, it was, sir. So we were lifted, and this is a story that I have talked about before. 1974, because I was 6 years old. And that's what I got. That's what I got told in my memory when I started remembering it. I heard my dad, or I thought I heard my dad say 6 years old. So that would have put it at 1974. So you're looking at probably late spring into beginning of summer. So you're probably looking in May. I'm assuming it would have been May. That is a major assumption on my part. So if somebody else can figure out the time frame of that, I don't know. Because there wasn't anybody else on the road except for, like, you had a lot of CBers, folks who were on CBs, and you had the semi truckers driving through. So that was why the roads were clear. I mean, sorry, my belly's starting to itch. Allergies. So that was one of the things, and it was a big enough ship. I mean, okay, so one of the things that Robert saw, that I allowed Robert to see in my memories, because I did allow him not access to my memories, I was showing him them via higher consciousness state. I don't know quite how else to say that. It wasn't that he was in my mind. Okay, that's a very different thing, and there's only ever been one person that has ever been allowed to do that, and he's now deceased. So excuse me. So let's see if I can find what I need. No, it's not that. Starts with an M. Hang on a minute. There we go. Okay, so this. Oh no. This is what the bottom of the ship looked like. I'm gonna try to get this to come out better. That's what the bottom of the ship looked like, okay? Now, Robert got the... I was giving him the memory of... And he was looking online. So these are... The pictures that I'm going to show you are from places that he found. They're other people's... They're either from a movie or they're from somebody's artwork. This is being used as an example, okay, for educational purposes. I am not trying to copyright or do it. I understand that. These are for educational purposes. I can't remember the term that's even on my hang on a second. I gotta find it. I got to do the reading because this is kind of a big deal. I don't need... No copyright infringement intended. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowances made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comments, news, reporting, teaching. Hello, that's what I'm trying to do right now. Scholarship and research. Fair use is permitted by copyright statute, that might otherwise be infringing. So this is totally for educational purposes, guys. So basically, this is what I remember seeing, or as close to it as possible. Okay? All right? So, and I am going to remove this because that's that's BS. There we go. So while and I've talked about the fact where the vehicle, we were literally frozen in time. And this is what I talk about, a time bubble. Or a time dilation bubble. Because I don't know what else to call it. But it's a freezing of time within that bubble. It was the weird thing, Amy. We weren't playing music at the time. We were singing. So Amy said one way you could pin the season definitively or even narrow the date is if you recall what music your mom was playing in the van. We stopped playing music like an hour, maybe 2 hours before that. And we were singing. We were singing all kinds of kid camp songs and all kinds of other songs. And just getting through the night. I mean, it was she, at that point in time, she wasn't a tired driver. Let's put it that way, okay? She was enjoying the drive. She was enjoying being around the forestry area. She was enjoying... We made a number of stops along the way. I do remember that. I don't remember where the hell we were at this second, but I do remember that. Excuse me. And back then you had to be even... Because of what was going on in the United States with the different serial killers, because there were quite a few, Mom and I, when we stopped at rest stops, she was very specific with me. I was not allowed to run off and be on my own because of all the shit that was going on. And we had that. There was a previous experience regarding, it was either before that or after that. I don't remember right now. No, crap. I think it was after that. We had a situation to where we had gone camping with, my mom had created a single parent women's, hey, Robert, a single parent, a women's single parent support group. And this revolves around Ted Bundy. And everybody went camping and brought their kids. And my mom and my mom's friend, thank you, Chico, California. Thank you, Paramount. Matter of fact, I need to take a picture of that or actually send that to me on, you know how to send it to me. Send it to me via what we were communicating earlier. Please, Para. All of that. And because that I'm struggling with my phone. Thank you. I appreciate that. So basically, what ended up taking place is the van was lifted off the ground as we're in the process of going up the mountain. And we're not very far from the peak of the mountain where you come up and then come back down and then start going through I-5. So, or doing I call it, okay, never mind. I don't need to get into all that. Side note, that's how my brain is working right now. So basically, one of the things that I remembered a few months ago was that the wheels were still spinning. I could hear the wheels, the front wheels. My mom still had her foot on the pedal. The wheels were still spinning in air as we're going up, because I couldn't figure out what the hell the sound was. And I'm like, oh my God, those are the wheels. Well, I registered it as a kid, but it's one of those things that's in a memory that is, it's almost like it's distant until it isn't, because you're basically riding back then in that specific kind of, I was going to call it a Econoline van, which it wasn't. It was something different. But anyway, you're almost riding on the wheels. And I can still picture that van. With the doors, and it wasn't a slider door, it was doors that open like this on the side. And so we're lifted into the air. Mom and I are completely frozen in our seats. We can't communicate. We're not verbal. Our eyes are wide open. And I remember semi have this memory of thinking of what the hell is going on, what's happening. And yet I was scared, yet I wasn't, because I already knew what was happening or what was about to happen, and I didn't like it. And not okay. So that was the image. And then last night I remembered that we were I had to write it down because I knew I wasn't going to remember it. I don't remember the phrasing. Let's see, where are you? Just a minute. Where the hell is it? Sorry, I'm looking for specific word, and apparently I'm not finding it. A number of notes. I've got like 2-3 pages of notes. Um, yeah, I'm not finding it. That's all right. Anyway, so basically, we went from that memory into being taken up, and Mom and I are frozen, and I've never been able to figure out. I mean, I knew it had to do with an ET abduction. Sorry, ha! I knew I had a hair. I have a memory of I've never been able to understand why the movie Cowboy versus Aliens. Um, there's one specific scene that is very triggering to me, and I'm like, why? Well, I had a flashback of that last night, and it triggered. I had a flashback of that while I was remembering going up. Um, I had a flashback of that scene in that movie, and then I had a flashback, a full memory of my mother on a table on a slab where she's turning her face. Her face is turning to look at me, and it was the first time she and I were telepathic. So so these are the guys. Now this Robert found this from a movie, and I went, "Oh my god, that's them." The difference is that it's not precise. This is from a movie that he found, so I don't know where this is educational purposes. So the guys that I saw resemble this. Okay, hang on a second. Oops, move that. Okay. They resemble this. Okay. Um, it's not exactly what they look like, but that's what they resemble. Tan, brown, um, their feet. Let's see if I can find what was the image. Their feet. Ah, nope. Nope, nope, nope. Their feet look like this, and I don't know if I can get it. Come on, go. There we go. Hang on, I'm trying to get there. Come on. Show it. Okay, so their feet look like that, but they have scales like this. It's the best I can get it, I think. So they have 3 pads. It's almost like a chicken foot, but it's not. It's like a paw, okay? But it's 3, okay? But they've got scales like an alligator. Um, and they were in uniforms. That's not what I meant to do. Damn it. Anyway, so they were in a form of a uniform. In a form of they were in a uniform. Um, no. So Amy just asked a question, and I'm saying no in answer. Are they one in the same with what you consider to be the Shasta ETs or the ones that live under that lake in Nevada? No. The energy is different. Um, the ones under Nevada are the same kind that are under the ocean off of Washington coast. They're the ones that are these guys to me are not reptilian. Yeah, I'll read that out loud in a second, Joe. They're the ones that they're more reptilian than this. The head is completely different. That the head is bigger. The body is bigger. These guys are about somewhere between 7 and 9 feet tall. And you got to remember, I'm looking at this from a little kid's standpoint, height. Now, I can do the height. So in comparison to the bedroom scene that I had in my bedroom where I'm screaming bloody murder and I wake my mom up because I begged the ET that had just dropped me off to appear, she looks completely different than these motherfuckers. She looks completely different. So these guys, I'm having a spirit ground me. Well, they're doing it through me in a very specific way. Wow. Okay. Oh boy. That's the other thing. I started doing unexpected energy work. I didn't even realize. I was just like, oh, well, I want to see, because people had gotten asked to do stuff, and I just wanted to watch. And I had the hierarchies. They're like, you've been too sick, too ill. You cannot be doing that. They literally shoved me back into my body. I was like, oh man, come on. I didn't even fight it. I didn't even have the energy to fight it. I mean, if it's an emergency, I'll do it. But I didn't, this was not, for me, this was not an emergency. It was for somebody else, but it wasn't. So, I mean, I wasn't going to participate, shall we say. I was just going to observe. And they were like, So I had a hierarchy and a very specific spirit guide that literally went, coming back down, girl. I'm like, damn, I didn't even fight it. Because they've told me that I've been a lot more physically ill than what I thought I was. And it was extremely dangerous. So that's, they were like, no, you're not doing this. Like, man. So anyway, so that's what that being looks like out of that specific ship, that round, out of this ship. Okay. So that said, so we were brought up into a, now I know I wrote that word down. What the hell? What is it called? I know, see, now I can't get it. I can't, excuse me, I can't grab the word. And I don't know where I put it on here. Oh, that's the other thing. Okay, so I did write it down. See, that's not what I've got remembering in my head. I wrote 6 feet tall. They are telepathic, no clicking when they talk to each other. See, there's a word I'm missing in between. That's what's bothering me. The vehicle was taken up And as we're taken up, there's the floor, like the seal or the bottom of the ship opens up. Some part of the bottom of the ship opens up. The van goes into it. The floor, what is now the floor, closes. The van is put onto the floor, and we are in what I can only classify as a room, a whatchamacallit room, a Robert, if you're still here, what the hell is the name of it? I can't think of the name of it. It's a, okay, like in Star Trek and I can't think of what it's called. Anyway, it's where ships come in and land and that kind of thing. I don't remember what it's called. Anyway, and that's the other thing that happens to me when I go through. I start having problems with being able to get my words, and that's part of my dyslexia. That is not a memory issue regarding. That is specifically related to my dyslexia. That's what happens to me. Landing bay, thank you. Speaking of which, I gotta write that freaking phrase down because that's driving me nuts. I was trying to remember what the hell that was called. Landing bay. That's what I was calling it last night, and I couldn't get. I apparently I thought I wrote it down. Apparently I didn't. So anyway, and because we're frozen, we're then telepathically told to get out of the vehicle and to start walking out of the vehicle, walk to the back of the vehicle. We're met, and then it's like we're escorted. And these beings, these guys, the ones that resemble these guys are not them. But they resemble them. And one thing that Robert did say, he's like, somebody in the movie industry, whoever is creating these guys, they know. And I'm like, yeah, they do, because this is too freaking close. I mean, this is way too freaking close to what these guys look like. It's not precise, but it's damn close. Cargo bay, thank you. That's the word I was looking for, cargo. And so basically, what ended up taking place is those guys come in and walk us, and we start walking down hallways and corridors in the ship. And the next memory that I've got, there's a cutoff in that memory. I don't know. I can guess why, but the guessing would be because we were then unclothed, and we are on, like, we have no control over our body other than to walk. We have no ability to react whatsoever. We are like a little automaton that somebody else is controlling, but yet somehow we are controlling our own bodies in the sense of simply walking. We cannot react in any way, shape, or form. We cannot turn our heads. We cannot. Mom and I were not capable of telepathy at that point. I suspect the memory that I'm not remembering yet is where they have us disrobe and then get on to these tables. They did not do any of that. We did. But it's because we were being controlled by them. I have great issue with that. My anger and my rage has not kicked in with that yet. But pit of my stomach just kicked in because I'm emotional about that, and the adult in me is like, I got to be very careful. So And that's my process. You may, as an abductee, you may process this very differently. I thank God I've been trained in different things, and I have been taking care of myself. I'm very particular when I go through flashback memories and then full memories, and triggers and things. I'm very, very specific with myself right after it happens, because it's part of me taking care of me and taking care of the psychological part of me as well. Because if I don't, then it goes into a whole different set of really negative things that I don't need in my life. And I have worked really effing hard to be stable and to do all the things that I need to do to take care of my body and to take care of me mentally. That's the other thing. You have to take care of yourself when you go through these memories. It's not easy. This is why I keep calling it the process, because it is a frickin' nightmarish process to deal with this shit. So basically, I gotta get them off my screen. I don't want to be looking at their frickin' mugs. Anyway, so basically, what ends up taking place is we're butt ass naked, we're on a table. The next thing I know is she and I are looking at each other. So we're side by side, but we're quite a distance apart from each other. So we're like way over here. I've got somebody. Okay, I've got somebody standing here. No, that's mom. I got it. Yeah. YouTube does this in reverse. It drives me up a freaking wall. Okay, so that's mom. This is me. Okay, see, I'm having to reverse everything, and it's really goofing me up. Okay, so I've got two people, one here and one here. My head is turned and aimed at my mom. There's at least one other person over here, and I say person. Hey, Bim Jim, I say but yeah, that's a few $100s a year I can't afford right now. I want StreamYard, but we'll see. Anyway, so there's another being. I call them person because they are to me in very much they're a people of their own nation, of their own country, of their own world. So you've got two here, one here, and something is happening to me. I haven't remembered that stage of it yet. I'm not there yet, but my head is looking over at my mom over here, and she's got one person big, whatever being it was big. Same being, same ET, but much bigger than what is over with me. And there's two on the other side of her, and they're all doing something to her. They're all doing something to her organs, to her breasts, to her physical body. And one of my biggest triggers in that movie, Cowboys versus Aliens, is where the woman's head is moving back and forth like this as she's turned and she's looking at her significant other. And well, she's being gutted. My mom wasn't being gutted. I don't know what they were doing to her, but she wasn't being gutted. And murdered. She wasn't. That's not what was happening. But her head was doing this bobbing back. It was like this as she was looking at me, and that I can't even go there. I that's about as far as I can say it. And at that moment, the second, it's not when she's looking at me that we're telepathic. Hello, something just went on with my guys. Let me know if I'm still live. I think somebody just tried to access. Yeah, I think somebody just tried to access or did access my computer. Live here. I have stories I can't tell. Yeah, I understand, Bim Jim. Thank you, Robert. Still alive. Thank you. So basically, when she and I became good, yes, good, thank you. When she and I became telepathic was the moment her body was doing this little jerky motion. And it wasn't like in the movie per se of like, in the movie they really pronounced it a lot. With Mom, what I saw was, I don't even know how to describe it. It's slower. It's much slower. But it's obvious that her body was being worked on. Something was done to her. And she and I made contact, eye contact. But it was the second her body started doing this jerk motion, the slow jerk motion, that she and I became telepathic. And she was saying, "We will be okay, Nikki. We will be okay." And second time she said it, that's when she started screaming in her head. And I'm hearing her scream because now she's in pain. She's in a great deal of pain. And it's the kind of pain that you can't even describe. You can't even anything. Now, do I know if she was in the hybridization program? I have no idea. Do I know if they were removing that she was pregnant and they were removing the baby? I have no idea. Do I know what they were doing to her? No. But to hear your parent, scream like that, to be completely incapable of helping them, that's a big deal, especially for a 6-year-old watching this. And she just kept telling me, but yet she was also telling herself, we will be okay. We will be okay. And it became a mantra. And she'd scream again. And there were numerous times where this went on. Sorry. So, this is why I hold on to the good memories. The memory of me when I was 4 years old, standing on board a different ship, on board what I can only classify as a consortium ship, with other ETs, where I'm standing in front of a window and I'm putting my hand on an energy barrier window and they're yelling at me for it. And where Michael Hall is physically removing me from the landing because he's under orders. And if he doesn't do basically, you don't do what they say, they will make you do it. And that was with there were a lot of us children and a number of adults. And the human adults were there to basically corral the children, unwillingly, but that's what they were doing. So I hold on to, because to me that's a treasured memory of being in front of that window and getting to see space. That's why it imprinted so deeply in my memory banks for so many years, was because I was just awestruck by the beauty, the sheer beauty of something I had not ever seen before. I mean, hello, You're out in space. You're on a spaceship. This is not real. Oh my God. Yes, it is real. You're standing there going, wow, wow, I want to be there. How come we can't go there? I remember there were numerous different things I've not talked about in my thoughts regarding what I was remembering, how I was even thinking regarding the different nebulas I saw. And we were moving pretty quickly, pretty swift. Okay, now that one's got to go. Pretty swiftly through space. So I mean, we had just come from those areas and were literally zooming through space, I mean, flying through space, whatever. So here's the nebula, and we're flying beyond it and past it, and I'm seeing out it. It was gorgeous. It was something. I mean, I treasured that. Those are the kind of good memories that I treasured. Those are the kind of things that I hold on to. I hold on to. Oh, I said I was going to read yours. Joe, it's like you said. So this is Joe Stewart. It's like you said, Nikki, unknown wise. Write it down in a journal, which I have been doing also, and writing dreams down as well. Yeah, he's right. I preach that all the time. You've got to write your journal notes because it makes a hell of a difference. Like, I'm surprised because I actually have a memory of writing down the word cargo bay and or bay. I have the memory of writing down the word bay, but apparently I'm not finding it right now. Just means it's on one of the other pages. So, Paramarv, memo to aliens. Humans respond poorly to two things, pain and fear. You will find humans more compliant if you can prevent your subject from experiencing those two things. Please spread the word. Amen, brother. Fucking hell. Amen. Yeah, I've actually been working on that whenever I'm with the ETs. Ouch. Or almost when ouch. Almost whenever I'm with the ET. Okay, that killed the elbow. I'm gonna have to slam my hand down in order to get my elbow to stop hurting. Which sounds bizarre, but it's something that I learned that works for my elbow, puts my elbow back in place. Because the bones in my hand are out of place. And they react to each other. Sorry guys. I'm not with it today. So I'm with it enough, but not enough at the same time. My point being is that here you've got those kind of memories. Then these memories trigger, and hearing my mom, I lost it. I mean, Ryan and Robert can tell you I was a basket case last night. I had a hard frickin' time with this. But it's time. And I've been consistently told by my guides, by certain spirits that come regularly to see me, I've been consistently told it's time, Nikki. It's time to start remembering. And it's like it is time. It's long past time, but it's time where I can handle to deal with it. It's very difficult. I'm not appreciative of what I've been through by any stretch, but I do have moments that I truly treasure, like holding my babies. I only just saw today a message that somebody had left from 6 days ago asking me to please show the babies. Well, the only thing that I can show you right now is what AI created for me. Let's see if I can call that up. I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can get it. Let's see. Okay. This is done by AI, but imagine this little one. This is Meta, Facebook, that created this image for me. And this is as close as you'll get to one of my hybrid children. Okay? Blue eyes, blonde hair, blue eyes, black hair, red hair. Very rare that I've got red. And this is what they look like. Really small mouths. The cheeks are not quite as chubby. The chin comes down a little bit more. Lips are a little bit smaller. Nose is the perfect. Eyes are the perfect. The eye color is perfect. The eyes are just a little bit wider at the up above and down below. The head is a little bit bigger up in here, so the forehead is a little bit bigger, but it's the same size in the back as a human infant. Okay, so but imagine this infant green, or imagine them blue. Okay, that's what my hybrids look. Most of them, not all of them, most of them look like that. Now I've had I've had other I've had infants that are grays, that are human. Sorry, that are human grays hybrids that resemble this, but the heads are bigger. They're a little bit, they're rounded, like, okay, so this would be the bottom of their face, right? This is, I'm just like, okay, so from like here down. So they've got the rounded of the human. The point of the chin is a little bit more. The nose is smaller. Their nose is smaller than what is on this picture of this infant. The lips are much thinner. And they are gray. They are a Caucasian gray. I mean, like gray, like a ET gray. But their eyes are never black. Their eyes are always blue, or I've even seen, kind of reminds me of Elizabeth Taylor with her lavender eyes. She was famous for her eyes. They were a form of a lavender. I've seen some children with lavender eyes. Now, according to how I understand it, they turn a very specific blue when they become adults, or full, how do I say that? Full grown. So, but this is another version of, this is another AI version for a green infant. That's, I've had infant, they're not quite that green. This is a much darker green version. I don't know if I can. That's a much darker green version. So the green that I've seen, and I can't seem to get AI to do blue. They turn it this really dark blue, and I'm like, no. And anytime I try to get it to change, oh god, it just gets worse. It turns them into like almost like this navy blue color. And I'm like, seriously, that's not what I'm asking you. I've tried it. I've tried asking vaguely. I've tried being specific. I've tried everything in between, and AI cannot seem to get it right. So I just went, screw it. This is what I've got. Now, my drawing, I thought I was going to do this next week, but I'm going to do this now, apparently. The drawing that I've got, see, they turn them, this is somebody else's artwork. So the art goes to them. I mean, the credit goes to them. That's the deep dark, that's a dark blue. There's also a much darker version. And yeah, I've seen them ETs that look like that, but with black hair, and much smaller lips. The lips are not quite right. The nose needs to be smaller. So, but that's for, like I said, this is for educational purposes, folks. This is as close as I can get. So yeah, it's just dealing with the memory of my mother on that platform, that table, lack of a better word, table. And I didn't see any pillar underneath it to make it a table. So to me, it was like floating in air. But logically, as a little kid, I was thinking, well, there's got to be some kind of pedestal to hold that table up. I never saw one. Now, it's very possible that the ET that was standing in front of her was covering it with his legs because his legs were huge. But yet, I don't know. Anyway, and their covering was a kind of a silvery blue, more blue than silver, but it was real specific. And it went from basically what would be their ankles up to their neck and up to what we would classify as their wrist. I, weirdly enough, do not remember their fingers yet. I don't remember their hands. But I remember their feet. And they had they had some form of claws on them. Now, what Robert saw from what I showed him, which is weird because I don't know how else to say this, he saw feathers. He saw some kind of feathers on them. I don't remember that yet. I mean, I don't consciously have it here, but I know that I allowed him to see what I saw because it was safer for me to show it to him than it was for me to, because I can't. It's not that I can't, I was going to say I can't grasp it. It's not that I can't grasp it. It's that I can't handle it yet. I cannot emotionally handle every aspect of what I've been through yet. So I'm still, this is why I call this a process, folks. This is a process to deal with. And it's not easy. So I went from those flashbacks and then full memories to, and I don't know what happened to us during the 8 hours time. Oh, please hit the like, subscribe, and share button. I'm wanting this to go out to help other abductees who have gone through stuff. So seriously, please hit the like and subscribe. If you haven't already subscribed, please hit the like button, subscribe button, and share it out if you're capable, if it's safe enough for you to do so. So I went from that into it went from that into a flashback. Yeah, so these ETs force the humans to follow the commands. I then had a flashback because of this. Because of this, I had a specific flashback of the house that I talk about with the ET, with the different ET, more reptilianish ET with very specific blood vessels on the outside of its skin, transparent skin sort of thing. Very big. She's the one that did not have breasts, did not have a front down below. All of that is hidden. They're very unisex looking, but the energy is female. And if it weren't for our Keith Andrews, I never would have pinpointed why I kept calling her a she. And it was because the energy and the mind speak, the telepathic communication between her. She was female, and it wasn't until years and years and years later that I realized that their organs are inside a specific way, their sexual organ stuff. So, okay, so because of mom screaming, in that 1974 ET abduction, with the vehicle, the van that mom and I called Big Bertha, I had a flashback of being in that house, that same house with the one that I talk about in my bedroom, that I begged and pleaded to have her show me. Para, I'll read that in just a minute. And Amy, I'll read yours in just a moment. And so I had a flashback memory. I don't have the full memory, but it's still a large flashback memory of my mom and I being abducted. I don't know if it was 74 or 75, but we're abducted from that house that's in the section of Seattle, North Seattle, that's got a very definitive Norwegian community. And we were taken from the back corner of the kitchen at twilight. I literally wrote the word twilight. It was just before the sun went down, or just as the sun was going down. There was still light out in the backyard. I remember looking out the kitchen window. Mom had stepped from the kitchen sink. It was like a porcelain sink. And she moved over to the corner of the kitchen. And I walked up to the kitchen sink. I don't remember what I was doing and the next thing I remember is being on board a ship. I don't have any, I just remember we're there, there's a flash of light, and I'm on board. And that's it. I don't have a memory of opening my eyes and being on board. I can tell by the feel of my body that I'm on board a ship. I can tell by it. There's a specific, when you're on board certain ET ship, not human made ship, not human ET made ship, but actual ET ship, there's a specific kind of energy. It's almost like a hum that I have always felt. I don't know why there's a hum. I know other abductees who are like, what the hell are you talking about? I think it's because I'm so sensitive to the ship that I can feel the energy of the ship, because these ships are alive. These are living conscious metal. They're not metal, but they are, but they're not. I don't know how else to describe them. So that made me realize how long, I mean, this had been going on for a very long time. Mom and I being both abducted. I know that at one time my mom was pregnant. It wasn't until years and years and years later I was married and had a kid myself, and it was years after that she actually confided in me and actually told me that she had she had been pregnant and she had aborted the baby because of what had taken place between her and my stepdad. And my stepdad left. He abandoned us for a long fucking time because he came back from doing something for the military, and he went not AWOL from the military, he went AWOL from his family because he was afraid he was going to kill us because of what they had him do. And he was in that mode and he needed to get back to nature. I understand. I didn't understand it then. I understand it now. And so, based on what I understand now, well, many years ago, he went into the forest. And this is what my mom told me, was that's when she asked him, "Where the hell have you been?" Because she had to legally divorce him, and they didn't military wasn't going to tell her where he was, even though he was discharged, honorably discharged. He had done his service for the country, whatever all that entailed, and he had done something so immoral, something completely against everything he believed in for them, um, that it did a number on him mentally, and he wanted to come back to us semi okay, and he couldn't do that. So he basically went and lived in Washington's forests for almost 5 years, or longer. I know it was 5 years. Um, I'm trying to think if it was I don't know for sure, but I can suspect it was longer because he didn't show up until I think like 9 years, 8, 9 years later. Um, and he stalked my mom and I to keep track of what was going on with us. So um, he would come out of the forest, and I mean, he was a damn good tracker. He knew what the hell he was doing. So he found mom and I, and he started stalking us, and um, yeah, it's just that there's quite a process there. Um, so he, because of his military experience, he went and no, his family, his siblings, his nobody in his family knew where he was. They had not a freaking clue. He just dropped off the face of the earth, and basically was living in the Washington forests, um, until he could get some of his shit together, and then he started doing the stalking because he couldn't believe my mom did what she did in a number of factors. And um, she was like, I couldn't bring another life into this world. uh, this is what I got told as an adult. She wasn't able to handle it in any way, shape, or form. And I've always known that I had a little brother. I don't know how I've known that, but all my life I knew I was missing a little brother. And which is just a trip and a half for me to even say that. Um, which on some level I knew my mom was pregnant and then she wasn't. Um, Now, my mom used to talk in front of me, around other adults, but I have no conscious memory of her doing that about this. There were a couple of things that she never talked about around me, and I honestly believe that was one of them. But regarding the abductions, um, so yeah, mom and I were taken out of that Seattle house numerous times. Um, I kind of wonder if she herself was part of the hybridization program. I don't know that though. Um, I don't know that for sure anyway. Um, Trying to think of other things. So we went from that memory of being abducted out of the kitchen into another memory where I saw what could only be classified as gray ETs, and that triggered something that I couldn't even I couldn't allow myself to see. But Robert saw it, and and he goes, "You're showing me blah," and I went, "All I know is the gray ETs," and he's like, "No, it's more than that," and he found an image. And and I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. I will try. Where are you? There you are. He found this image. Okay, hang on a minute. I got to get rid of this other thing. Hang on a minute. I don't like that. That's not okay on this. There we go. There we go. Okay, I had to crop it down. He found this image, and that's real. That he said that's from a movie. And sorry for the junky stuff here. Anyway, that's from a movie. Like I said, this is educational purposes only. The difference is that there were not any of the ones that I remember. There were not that the head is smoother. There are a couple of ridges, but there's not that kind of definition. The eyes come out right here like that there's something there. It's real. I mean, it's so freaking close. Around the cheek area is different. It's smooth. It does not have those kind of ridges to it. Then there's more of a nose, of kind of like a human tipped nose than that kind of nose, but it's real similar. The lips are correct. The chin is correct. The chin needs to come down just a tiny bit more. But there were kind of like a cheekbone area, if I remember correctly. And so that is what I'm going to show you in just a moment. This is what they look like underneath. The black is the covering. The black, when they remove that, their eye is completely blue. It's cerulean blue. It's not black. That black thing is a covering to protect their eyes from light, very specific kind of light. So that's what they look like underneath their covering. This is from some website he got, and he saw them, from my memory, in this kind of a uniform, metal type of armor. Now, I'm like, I don't remember red eyes. He's like, no, this is the closest I could find. And he's like, no, what I saw was black eyes. And I'm like, yeah, that's what I was seeing. The armor is not the same. It's similar, but it's not the same. The head covering is very similar. And I don't know. And when I showed Amy made a very good point. Why the hell would they have armor? I don't know. I do not know. But I gotta get that I gotta get that away from me. But when I saw it, I had a guttural reaction that was so bad it triggered a major trauma response that Robert can attest to. It's Like I said, folks, this is a process. I'm not getting the guttural that I had last night, and I'm thankful for that. I saw that when I was a child. I was about 6 years old. I was either 6 or 7. I don't remember what they do other than they are wicked. Wicked, wicked, wicked. And Robert heard me tell him the word ground, that they consider themselves ground pounders, Pounders. And I heard they're the collectors. They are the collectors. They are the collectors on the ground to collect people. And I had a full-on guttural, I mean, like, full-on. Yeah, I told Amy they were 6.5 feet tall. I'd forgotten about that. Thank you, Amy. So, okay, earlier Amy had said at Paramarv, I don't think it's an accident to at least some of the species to cause fear and pain. Yeah, I agree with that. And Para says, yeah, unfortunately, at Amy, I think you're right. Para, I'll read the next one after that in just a moment. And then Amy says, this is why I made my rude comment about them last night when you said that they were 6.5 feet tall. Yeah. And she had every right to make the comment she made. I mean, seriously, these guys scare me. Even now, that's my adult reaction. Now, the child reaction is terrified. The child in me is utterly, totally, and completely terrified of them. The adult in me, I want to kill him. Bluntly stated. I don't know why. I don't know why I have that reaction. I want them gone. And that's regarding ETs, not humans, folks. That's ETs. They, to me, are absolutely tremendously vile. When I see them in this form, it doesn't faze me. I mean, I'm pissed, but it doesn't faze me. However, when I see them in this form, I want them gone. Have I remembered what they've done? No, not yet. So, yeah, when I say that I have seen numerous different kinds of grays, numerous different species, I can't even, my brain just, I'm having a brain fart right now. I can't even think. What's the other word that I use for species, races? Species, races of ET, I've seen a lot. I used to say, oh, I'd seen 7 to 9 types. No. That's what I used to say early on. What I say now is way over 15, way over 20. And that's just of other kinds of ET. That's not of the grays. The grays is a different ballgame altogether. Yeah, Para. Um, Para said, "So you mean to say that you want to kill them for entertainment and educational purposes only?" Yes, it's a good way to say it. You know, actually, I wouldn't mind a mini, a little reel, an AI reel of somebody doing that in computer generated. I think that would help me a lot. I would take out the vengeance part of me. I would take out the part of me that wants the vengeance on them. And I don't know what they've done. I don't remember. So, okay, so Para, claws and feathers kind of sounds like blue avians. Does that seem right? No, because these things are brown. Um, these specific, um, so this goes back to the, there we go. Um, so they're brown. Um, and I call them googly eyes because the eyes are not, um, the eyes aren't stationary. If I don't know how else to explain that. So, but that's what he saw. I've not been able to see that, but that's what he saw in my memory that I allowed him, that I showed him. Um, no, he says, I thought you were talking about a different species than what you were showing in the picture, a picture of. No, no, it's these brown guys that had the, um, it's the brown guys that had the three foot, or the three-toed thing with the little tiny claw. Well, I call them little, but they're not. The claws on the bottoms of the feet, not on the bottoms, but at the, like, fingernails. Um, Skinny leg that goes up to a fat leg. Reminds me of a chicken in some way, but it's got, the leg has scales on it like an alligator. Cheeseheads. Hey, Joe. Hey, sweetie. I hope you're feeling better. Um, so yeah, it's, that was the species race of ET that has the feathers that Robert saw. I didn't see feathers. Actually, when I see these guys, these are also the same guys that I am afraid to turn around in that memory of when I was 4 years old. Um, that work with the tall, what I call the tall whites, but they're a form of a tall gray. They're 7 foot tall, super skinny, long and lean gray, and but they're so pasty. They have that white look to them, and these guys work with them. And these guys, meaning these guys are the guys that stink. I mean, stink to high heaven. They reek. It's so bad. It's so pungent that you're fighting from vomiting, and yet you're under control. So you're under their control, so you can't vomit. So you're taking in that, it permeates your nose. It permeates the hairs in your nose and you have that smell for quite a while after you're off ship. Um, and one of the things that Robert had said, um, see if I can find this to remember the exact quote. Um, shit. Yeah, he said feathers from above the foot. Um, damn, I'm not finding it. Limburger cheese. Yeah. Limburger aliens. Yeah, Limburger cheese. Um, yeah, I'm not finding it at this second, but basically, um, they were in these guys were on board during the Butterfly Nebula experience when I was 4 years old. Um, and these are the guys. I mean, they just reek. Uh, they, God, they really smell. Um, and thank God I can't remember the smell right now, but Robert could. I mean, he got a whiff of it from my memory, and I'm like, oh, that's a whole different ballgame to be able to do that kind of stuff. Um, but he had talked about. He asked me a question. And I can't pull it out of my head at this second. Um, and I can't get beyond. So I've been able to. So 2 years ago or thereabouts, I talked about the fact that I wasn't able to turn around in that memory from when I was 4 years old, standing on that landing, looking out, and with my hand on the energy barrier window. Um, I couldn't turn around. Well, I've since been able to turn around, then remembered that I was dealing with Michael W. Hall, how he was being talked to and telepathically told certain things by certain ETs. I've then been able to where Michael actually, I wouldn't come off the landing. I didn't want to. I was being a defiant 4 year old. And he tried to reach out and take my hand. That's something I've never described it before. He tried to reach out and take my hand, and I wouldn't give him my hand because I'm like, I'm not getting down from here. I had no intention of getting down from there. And he literally picked me up. He picked me up under the arms and put me down on the ground and then reached out his hand. And that was essentially when I got ordered to take his hand and to follow him back to the circle of kids. And there, so you had the circle of kids, and then you had the humans around us, the adult humans around us. And once I got back to the circle of kids, Michael, we let go of hands, and and for whatever reason, they controlled us kids um, differently, but allowed certain things to break rules. And what I mean by rules is, for whatever reason, they allowed me to come out of this circle. So we could, as long as we were corralled in this group of adults, we were okay. If we went outside of that, we were not. So these guys were in the room with the tall whites, what I call the tall whites, but they're tall grays. There were other ETs there as well. Um, and so I've been able to go into that memory more. I'm still terrified. Ugh, damn it. Sorry. Sorry. I'm still terrified of whatever else is in that memory. That I've not been so terrified over. Those are not sections of memory that I'm terrified over. I can't get beyond looking at somebody's stomach. So like the kids, I can't go above like from like right here up. But from right here down, I can see the different kids, and all of us were in pajamas. And one of the things that Robert had seen in my memory is a little girl who was in a very bright, now this is 1974, no, 1972, in a very bright yellow, which of course that was the time, 1972. It's kind of like a sundress, but it wasn't a sundress. It was PJs. And what he saw was the color. What I saw was the pattern on the dress, and it had little tiny white daisies on the bright yellow. I mean, like really tiny daisies all over this yellow. Excuse me. And he showed me a picture. Excuse me. He showed me a picture of what kind of dress, specifically with the sleeves. What I was seeing with the sleeves was elastic, little elastic on the sleeve with a flip out ribbon type of thing. It's a ruffle. It's a form of a ruffle. Now he was showing me a dress that went essential. Well, he talked about a dress going to the knees. I saw what I remember was almost a full length. Now I don't know why there's a difference between the two. I don't know if that's a safety reason for me or what, but that's how I have it in my head. But I see this beautiful, and it's bright yellow. Oh my God. And the interesting thing is I've got a picture of me at that age, at 4 years old, in a bright, I mean, like, it's so bright yellow, it's almost neon. With the long pointed collar coming down, in 1972, and it's a bright yellow, long sleeve, cuffed with a little white button shirt and a jumper. You remember those Oshkosh Bagosh? Oh my God, I used to love those things. Jumper, but it wasn't. It was multicolored. It had yellows in it and blues and reds and rust colors and browns and all kinds. Very 70s. And so I've got a picture of myself in that. And of course, I had taken a pair of scissors at the time and had cut my bangs to about right there. It was like my mom was not a happy camper. And so that was my formal picture of, of me at that time. Stupid chair. Squeaky, squeaky, squeaky. Still haven't had time to deal with the squeakies and get the gel stuff on it. Now I've had other memories as well. I'm not quite ready to get into those. Amy, oddly enough, I have always slept in my everyday clothes. I can't even recall pajamas. Must be to maintain readiness. For oh my God, Nikki, I can't even read it. WD-40 on the chair. Yes, that's what I was trying to think of. I couldn't think of the name of it. All I could think of was the word loo, but that wasn't the right word. Anyway, so Spaced Out Radio is almost on. That's pretty much it. I just want you to know and to realize and recognize, if you are an experiencer, it is a process going through this. I will be better emotionally. Oh God, I'm not reading that, Robert. This is a process. It is okay. One of the things, here's a product placement. One of the things that I'm taking now, I can't find my rescue remedy, my Bach rescue remedy. So I'm taking Bach chestnut, sweet chestnut. And it oh, goose oil. Yeah, kind of forgot about that too. And that was from Amy's. So this is what I'm taking, but Rescue Remedy is the one to take when you're dealing, or at least the one that I take. Look into it as, oh my god. Cole is right. I need to put this on a t-shirt. Do your research. Nikki says, do your own research. research the shit out of everything. Anyway, so those are my most current memories. I'm very tired, as you can see, by this. I'm very worn out because that's what these kind of emotions do. I will probably be weepy for a while, which is fine. That's part of my process, but I've got to tell. Oh my God, Para Marvin Robert. Holy shit, you too. Well, that got a laugh out of me. That's the other thing. Okay, the other thing that I wanted to say before I forget was that one of the things that is helping me is binaural beats music. So Soffeggio frequencies. But let's see, binaural. Yes, he started it. Yes, I know he did. He's very good at that. Oh my goodness sake. Sorry. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about is the singing bowls and change of frequency in order to help your brain. Like a chair that honks. I love it, Amy. That's awesome. Anyway, one of the okay, so Paris says if you use KY, then when you turn, the chair may moan instead of squeak. That's because Robert said, well, KY jelly might, or KY might work anyway. Um, and Para goes, he started it with a wink. And Robert goes, and proud of it. Anyway, the point is use frequencies because they will help in your process, or look into, research it for yourself to see if that will work for you. Look into the different hertz, megahertz, to find what tone works for you. You can usually untrigger yourself pretty quickly with certain frequency hertz, megahertz. So be aware of that, especially if it's a true megahertz frequency. If it's these ones that are just playing music that's doing the what is it, the I can't remember. I want to say it's 40, but that's not right. Um, where music has been changed, then you've got to be very, that's not going to work. You got to be very careful. The other thing, because this is traumatic, this is something to process. Look into vitamin supplementation. Look into things that you need to do to take care of yourself. My little moments is, yeah, I knew Spaced Out Radio was coming on. My little moments are Coca-Cola and chocolate, because those go back to childhood. Then I get out of that mode. Then I move on, and I'm not eating that stuff or drinking that stuff anymore because high carbs, high sugar, not good for the body. I allow myself to do what I need to do. Of course, I don't go into drugs or into alcohol because that re-traumatizes the body. And that's the last thing you want. You want to process this out in a much more healthier manner if you're able to. This is very hard. It's very difficult. The guys in the suit, the grays in the suit, those are extremely traumatizing to me. So you've got to find what works for you. And now, instead of going for, because I used to eat, I used to eat carbs. And now, if I go through something like that, I'll find protein, because protein affects the brain very, very differently than carbs do. You have to start paying attention. This is what I've learned. You got to start paying attention to your body, to what your brain needs versus what your body wants. There's a big difference between want and what's needed. A lot of times you're looking at serotonin levels that are different. You're looking at not melatonin, serotonin, and the other one, I'm not thinking of the right names, but look into those. Find what works for you. Find what protects your brain. If you're a here's one. If you're a targeted individual, find what protects your organs. You know, you got to do what's healthy for you and in your situation, whatever that situation is. Here's one of the herbs. Look into ashwagandha. Oh God! Since I mentioned that with somebody specific that is human, that is live, the other side starts yapping at me with a specific movie quote, and I'm like, oh my God, seriously, guys, leave me be. And that's what they just did. So, look into things that will help ease your stress, things that are healthy, not the things that are negative. Like right now, I'm not wanting the Coca-Cola or the chocolate, because I've moved on from that stage. I'm no longer in that horrifically traumatized stage. I'm in traumatized stage, but I'm not in the horrifically traumatized stage. And so you move your stage levels up as you go, as you process this. And eventually I'll be back at whatever number I'm normally back at. So whether that's a 6, 7, or an 8, you do what. See, I hate it. Why can't they put this on the left side instead of the right side? There we go. Okay. Amy says Richard Hoagland had a Braps chair. It's part of his legend now. Why do I know that name? I can't think of why I know that name. And I don't remember what BRAAPS is. Robert says, yo, the name is Batty the Logic, is erratic. Potato in a jacket, toys in the attic. I rock and I ramble, my brain is scrambled. Rap like an animal, but I'm a mammal. Is that Batty Coda from Fern Gully? Is that a quote from them? Educational purposes, folks. I'm just trying to figure out what he's talking about. I think that's what that's. Yep, he says yep. Okay. Yeah, I was like, okay, that's got to be Batty Coda from Fern Gully. And that's an old movie. So, anyway, do what you need to do to take care of yourself, to protect yourself. And make sure that you've got other people that you can actually trust with this information. I'm very thankful that I've got a pretty good support system, and I'm incredibly thankful for them. I love them deeply. They are I consider them part of my family. And I've got a number of folks that are like that, and we all, whenever we go through something, we're always there for each other in whatever way we can be. And Robert just said that, and we will be there always. Yeah, I mean, it's a big deal. It's a really, really big deal going through this, and you need the support. That is the one thing that I've seriously learned through this. You got to have the support system. You got to find, and if you are an experiencer and you don't know where to look in the community, talk to me. I will give you a list of groups of people that you can talk to, people that you can go to that are very public. And they have talked about, come talk to me if you need. So, I can refer you to them. If you don't want to talk to me, are there somebody else that you want to talk to? Ask. Yeah, Robert says support units. You got to have those support units. It's vital in dealing with this because it is a lot of shit. There is a lot of negativity. Why was my mom screaming? Do I know? No. Do I know that they were hurting her? Yes. Do I know that they were realizing they were hurting her? Oh, most likely. Do I think they cared? Probably not. Do I think they've changed that since 1972, 1974 timeframe? Yeah, a lot has changed. When I've talked to the ETs that where I'm in the hybridization program, it's very different now. I tell them flat out, you're hurting me. You need to shut the pain receptors off. Because you've got to shut off those pain receptors so that I'm not feeling what you're doing regarding pain levels. That's not okay. You cannot be hurting me. I mean, I understand you're doing surgery and blah, 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 but you got to shut those pain receptors off. This is a big deal. So, speak up. If you are an abductee and you're on board a ship during an abduction, and you're having physical pain, tell them, shut my pain receptors off. I'm hurting. This is not okay. Instead of screaming, just consciously, and you're going to have to, here's the other thing. When you're in that state, it's too hard to think. Tell them off pain receptors. Shut off pain. And if they're, and I think of somebody specific who talked about him having his brain opened up. Well, I was just reminded this afternoon when I was on Facebook, somebody had done a reel, and it was a doctor, and he talked about your brain has no pain when it's being worked on. What has the pain is the sheath. I call it the sheath. That's not what he called it. But there's a specific membrane around the brain. That's the thing that actually has pain receptors on it. And that's the thing that makes it feel like the brain is under a great deal of pain itself. So it's like you got to shut those pain receptors off. So that's what I say. Drill it into your own head so that you have a phrase system. If you're not able to speak and that pops up into your head, voice it in your head and continue with your screaming. Because you've got to speak up for yourself more than just the screaming, because they're going to ignore your screaming. If there's certain ETs, they'll ignore the screaming. Or they'll completely knock you out, which is actually, in my opinion, better. But anyway, on that note, I want to go. I want to go see who Dave has on tonight. Go check out Spaced Out Radio. Oh, and we had a really tonight. They're on Monday through Friday with Dave, and then Saturday and Sunday with Rob G for Spaced Out Radio. Yesterday we had an awesome guest on our show, the show that Robert and I are on. That's called the S4 Paranormal Bunker. I'll put a link in the chat. Or in the chat. I will put a link. Well, actually, I will put a link in the chat. I will. I'll put a link in the chat, and I will also put a link in the description box. There we are. Here it is. Okay, here is the link for that. I need to shut this off. Come over here, scroll down, hit share, copy, come into live stream. Hey, Black Dragon. Paste and post. Okay. Simplify Ocean. Yeah. Says Black Dragon. So basically, hit the like, subscribe, and share button, folks. So we had a really awesome guest on the S4 bunker last night. I shorten it. The link it's called Metaphysical Tools and Charms with Brianna Stevens. She was great. Really liked her. Highly recommend you go and listen. So it says Brianna Stevens is the owner of Witches Coven in Shelton, Washington. She is an ordained minister and high priestess, an eclectic pagan and medium who walks a neutral spiritual path to help others in the journey. Then it's so much more than that. I highly recommend her. She knows her shit. And that's saying stuff because I've come across people that don't know diddly boo one, that say they do, and they don't, and she does. She really knows her stuff. So anyway, go and watch the replay of last night's show of the S4 Paranormal Bunker on YouTube. And right now, go in and watch Spaced Out Radio. I've been on 2 hours and 12 minutes, and it's time for me to go. It's time for me to take care of myself and go eat and actually get vitamins down and do stuff. Black Dragon, Brianna, she sounds familiar. Yeah. Go watch the show, and lot was talked about regarding protection methods and things. So, regarding paranormal and quite a range of subjects. So, sweet dreams, Ocean. Who is Ocean? Am I not seeing somebody in chat that I haven't called out and recognized? Huh, interesting. Interesting. Anyhow, so if I've got folks here that I'm not seeing for whatever reason in my chat that are watching, hello, and thank you for coming. And like I say, please hit the like, share, and subscribe buttons. I appreciate it. Helps the algorithms, folks. Anyway, I hope you have a good night. I hope you have an excellent weekend. Keep working on those emotions and that trauma baggage, and we'll all get through it one way or another and move on to a much more positive and healthier viewpoint and way of life. It takes time, folks. It is a process. And remember to love yourself. That is a big deal. Don't stay stuck. Don't stay stuck in anger. Don't stay stuck in negativity, rage mode, none of that. It's not conducive to a healthy life. Please work on getting through your stuff. It makes a difference. Oh, the other thing, before I forget, find things that trigger happiness for you. In other words, things that will trigger even a comical laugh or a chuckle, because that can shift your frequency and that can help bring your energy up. So just a side note, I'll find little things that you love to do. One of my favorite things to do is bring out the little kid in me and create and blow bubbles. There's a specific action in taking in a deep breath through the nose and blowing it out through the mouth. Okay, Black Dragon says, ocean is life and ocean is you. Ah, okay, understand. Thank you. I appreciate that, Black Dragon. So there's a specific action when you take in air through your nose, blow it out, and you're blowing bubbles with soap bubbles. That action helps release pressure, stress, and anxiety in the body. It does more than that, but that's the basics. It also helps with oxygen flow to the brain. And the other thing is remember to drink water and or electrolytes, because when you're going through these memories, because it creates trauma, look into the electrolyte aspect of what is going on with your brain. Look into what that does with the body. Because of the emotions and the trauma, it creates a lot of medical things going on. So do your research into that. Talk to your medical team, talk to your doctors, whoever, and find out what is going to work for you. For me, I do water with lemon or water with lime, or water. And if I'm not doing that, then I'm doing specific electrolytes, because that will also help boost my body and help with better energy flow. It helps to revitalize the body, that kind of thing. And that's the other thing that you want to look at, is things that will help decrease the stress on the body and the brain. Those are very, very important. I think I've gotten everything. Black Dragon, I don't get emotional, but I drink a lot of well water. Yeah. Make sure it's tested, dear. On that note, I hope you have a fantastic weekend, a very good rest of your night, and an excellent Friday. Have fun on Friday. Go do something you enjoy. On that note, I need to go rest and probably cry some more, cry some things out. Para's responding to Black Dragon. That's an awesome remark. Anyway, take very good care of yourself, guys, as I will. I'm trying. I'm working on it. It's not easy, and I'm getting a headache just from talking about this. So it's time for me to go take care of me. Be good to yourself, guys. Bye. Okay, now we're bye. Okay.